What would you do if you were publicly accused of stealing something you never touched? Imagine standing in a crowded store, your integrity torn apart in front of strangers, your purse searched like you're a criminal, all because someone decided you looked guilty. This is what happened to Michelle Carter on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon in downtown Portland. And what happened next? Nobody saw it coming. The shout exploded through Brilliance Jewelry on Oak Street, sharp enough to make the crystal display seem to vibrate. Give it back. Now. Store manager Robert Hayes stood there in his pressed gray suit, his face twisted with anger, jabbing his fingers so close to the woman in the navy dress that it felt like an assault all on its own. Michelle Carter didn't step back. She stood her ground, motionless, eyes steady even though her heart was hammering against her ribs. Inside the store, everything changed. Conversations died mid-sentence. A young couple froze in the aisle. A sales associate stopped dead with a tray of rings in her hands. And of course the phones came out, not to help, not to defend, but to capture someone's humiliation for entertainment. Because that's what we do now, isn't it? I saw you take it, Robert announced loudly, making sure every person in that store could hear him. Don't even try to make a scene. Just give it back and get out. Michelle's voice came out quieter than his, but clearer. I didn't take anything. You showed me the ring. I put it back on the counter. Robert let out a bitter laugh, the kind that cuts. Sure. Everyone puts it back and then disappears. Not in my store. Nobody steals from me and walks out like nothing happened. Michelle swallowed hard. She'd come in as a regular customer. No designer clothes, no flashy jewelry, just a middle school teacher trying to buy a simple gift for her mom. A small pair of earrings, nothing fancy. She lives paycheck to paycheck, juggling bills and groceries like everyone else. But she'd saved up for this one small moment of pride, wanting to buy something beautiful with her own money, with dignity. But to Robert, dignity wasn't about how she carried herself. It was about the prejudice he carried in his eyes. Open your bag, he ordered, his tone shifting like a judge delivering a verdict. Open it now. I want to see if you stuffed it in there. For a second, the floor seemed to disappear beneath Michelle's feet. She went pale. Please, her voice cracked. I swear I didn't steal anything. Please. Robert leaned in closer as if her desperation was proof of guilt. Oh, here we go. Now you're begging. Just open the bag. And that's when the woman in the red blazer, who'd been standing behind Michelle the entire time, stepped forward. She didn't yell. She didn't argue. She just stated a fact like a witness on a stand. I saw her. She put the ring back. She didn't take anything. She never stole a thing. The entire store seemed to exhale differently, like that one voice had broken the spell of Michelle's public humiliation. Robert whipped around to face her, furious as if defending someone was a personal insult. Stay out of this. Who the hell are you to get involved? He snapped. You two came in together, didn't you? What is this, some kind of setup? You both dress nice, act innocent, and think you can rob me blind? Not today. The word you hung in the air like a slap. It wasn't just Michelle anymore. It was a label slapped on both of them. Michelle felt her face burn, not with guilt but with the shame of being treated like garbage in front of strangers. She glanced at her friend. The woman in red didn't flinch. She just stood there, gaze locked, holding the silence like someone gripping a lifeline in a storm. And that's when Michelle made a decision. Not out of fear. Out of courage. Perhaps this was the moment that would define everything. She took a deep breath, feeling her pulse racing, and placed her purse on the glass counter right in front of him. Fine, she said, and her voice only trembled slightly. Go ahead. Search it. Look through everything. The store went dead silent. The sound of the zipper seemed deafening when Robert yanked it open, moving fast and confident, like he'd already won. He shoved his hand inside, pulling out her wallet, a simple tube of lip balm, a pen. A small notebook filled with lesson plans. He ripped open the second compartment, folded receipts, a prescription bottle, a phone charger. He got more aggressive, like the absence of evidence was an insult to him personally. Then he pulled out a photograph, creased and worn, carefully tucked away. Michelle's mom smiling at the camera, her arms around a little girl. Daughter. Family. Real life. No crime. No con. Just humanity. For a heartbeat, Robert hesitated. But his arrogance was bigger than reality. This doesn't make sense, he insisted, looking up with frustration burning in his eyes. It has to be you two. You did something. You. Michelle felt her chest tighten. You searched my entire bag, she said quietly. You found nothing. Nothing. Robert slammed his hand on the counter. I'm calling the cops. he declared like he was holding a winning card. And the cruelest part? He said it with satisfaction like he wanted a squad car out front, not for justice but to finish the humiliation with flashing lights and fear. He dialed deliberately, speaking loud enough for everyone to hear. "Yeah, this is Brilliance Jewelry on Oak Street. I got 2 suspects here. I need officers now." Michelle closed her eyes for a moment, asking for strength. The woman in red stayed perfectly still, watching everything without moving, without smiling, without trembling, just recording every detail with her eyes. Minutes later, the door opened and 3 officers walked in. A man and 2 women, all of them composed, serious, like they'd already arrived ready to separate truth from theater. They didn't immediately ask what happened. They looked around, took in the scene. 2 women standing there exposed and a manager acting like he owned the narrative. The lead female officer spoke first. "IDs. Both of you." The woman in the red blazer stepped forward. She opened her purse calmly, no rush, like someone who doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. She pulled out a badge holder without hesitation. Robert saw it and the ground vanished beneath him. "Detective Valerie Monroe. Portland Police Bureau," she said evenly, looking at the officers. "I witnessed everything. My friend didn't steal. She never stole. I watched her return the ring. The silence in that store was absolute. Total." Robert choked. I didn't know." Michelle took a breath and introduced herself, trying to keep her voice steady. "Michelle Carter. I teach 8th grade at Lincoln Middle School. I was here to buy a gift. He accused me. Asked to search my bag. I let him. He went through everything." Both female officers turned to Robert at the same time, and it was like the power in that room changed hands. He wasn't controlling the situation anymore. The law was. The female officer who'd been leading asked 3 questions. Simple, strong, no shouting required. "You searched her bag, correct?" Robert looked around, at the cameras, at the phones, at the detective, at his own lie cornered. "Yes, ma'am. I did." "Did you find anything that matches the ring you claim she stole?" His throat closed up. "No." "When you demanded to search her bag at the time you made the accusation, did you have any concrete proof? Any video? Any alarm? Any item found on her person?" Robert blinked too fast. "No. I thought." The store fell into silence like someone had muted the world. That's when the male officer, who'd been quietly observing, stepped forward. His voice came out firm, carrying the weight of a lesson. "Do you understand what you just admitted?" he asked. "You publicly accused a citizen without evidence. You humiliated her. You forced an invasive search. And then you weaponized the police as a threat. That's not protocol. That's abuse." Robert tried to speak, but the words came out broken. "I was just trying to protect my store." The female officer cut him off without aggression, but with absolute authority. "Protecting your store doesn't give you the right to destroy someone's dignity. What happened here will be documented. And the way you treated these 2 women will be included in the report." Valerie, the detective, added with surgical calm, "And when you said 'you too,' you weren't talking about a ring. You were talking about prejudice. And prejudice isn't an opinion. It's a crime." Robert stood there, pale, like he was only now realizing that the real world has consequences. The officer was direct, looking straight at him. "You're going to close the store immediately, preserve the scene, and accompany us to the station to give a statement. No arguments." The sales associate covered her mouth. The couple recording slowly lowered their phones. The silence turned to shame. Not the victim's shame. The witness's shame. Before leaving, the male officer looked at Michelle and spoke in a gentler tone. "Ma'am, you're free to go. You were the victim here, and you have every right to file a formal complaint." The other female officer added with genuine sincerity, "I'm sorry for what you went through. This shouldn't happen to anyone." Michelle felt tears welling up, but she didn't break. She clutched her purse to her chest and breathed, like she was reclaiming something they tried to steal from her, her own dignity. Valerie put a hand on her friend's shoulder. "Let's go," she said softly. "And tonight, you'll sleep knowing the truth doesn't need to shout." As Robert was escorted out, the entire store didn't applaud. There was no dramatic scene. There was consequence. And that's more powerful than any twist of fortune. It's real justice. A person's value isn't measured by what they wear or what's in their wallet. It's measured by the dignity with which they face injustice. And when someone uses power to humiliate another human being, it's not just wrong, it's criminal. Respect isn't a favor. It's a right. Now I want to hear from you. What would you do in Michelle's situation? If you believe no innocent person should ever be accused without consequence, drop a comment below. I stand for justice. If this story moved you, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and share this video. Because justice isn't just something we talk about, it's something we spread.